Tokyo, April 1973. David Bowie had just walked off stage at the Shibuya Public Hall, still wearing the skeletal remains of Ziggy Stardust, the orange hair plastered to his skull with sweat, the silver jumpsuit unzipped to his navel, his face a smeared canvas of glitter and exhaustion. The crowd had been different in Tokyo, not just enthusiastic, possessed. They'd screamed through every song like they were witnessing something religious, something that might never happen again. And in a way, they were right. Bowie was already planning to kill Ziggy. He just hadn't told anyone yet. Backstage was the usual chaos. Roadies breaking down equipment, journalists pushing for quotes, hangers-on trying to seem important. Bowie sat in a corner, smoking, half listening to his manager discuss the next city on the tour. He was exhausted in a way that went deeper than his body. Exhausted of being Ziggy, exhausted of the character he'd created, exhausted of people treating the mask like it was his face. That's when he saw her. A young Japanese woman, maybe 19 or 20, standing completely still amid the chaos. She wore a simple red dress, not flashy, not provocative, just red. Her long black hair fell straight down her back. She wasn't trying to get closer. She wasn't calling his name or waving a camera. She was just standing there, watching him with an expression he couldn't quite read. Their eyes met. She walked toward him slowly, deliberately, as if she'd been waiting for this exact moment. Security moved to intercept her, but Bowie held up a hand. "It's all right," he said quietly. She stopped about 3 feet away. Up close, Bowie could see she was younger than he'd thought. Her eyes were calm, almost sad, like she knew something he didn't. She held out an envelope, plain white paper, no markings. "For you," she said in careful English. "Read it when you're alone. Not now. Later." Bowie took the envelope. "What's your name?" She smiled faintly. "It doesn't matter. The letter matters." "Will I see you again?" She shook her head. "You don't need to." And then she turned and walked away. Not hurried, not dramatic, just walked back through the crowd and disappeared into the Tokyo night like she'd never been there at all. Bowie stood there holding the envelope, feeling something he hadn't felt in months, genuine curiosity. He waited until he was back in his hotel room. 3 in the morning, the city lights of Tokyo blazing through the window. He sat on the edge of the bed and opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper covered in neat handwriting, half in English, half in Japanese. The English parts were grammatically perfect, but strangely formal, like they'd been translated from something deeper. Bowie read it 3 times. The letter didn't ask for anything. It didn't praise him. It didn't tell him she loved his music. Instead, it did something far stranger. It told him who he was becoming. "You are afraid," it began, "that you have disappeared inside your creation, that David Bowie no longer exists, only Ziggy. And you are right to be afraid. But this is not the tragedy you think it is." The letter went on. It spoke about the nature of identity, about how the self is not a fixed thing but a series of masks we wear and discard. It referenced Buddhist philosophy, the concept of mujo, impermanence. Nothing lasts. Everything is always changing. The you of yesterday is already dead. Western culture tells you to find yourself, to be authentic, to discover your true identity. This is a trap. There is no true self. There is only the self you are becoming. And when you stop becoming, you die. Bowie felt something tighten in his chest. The letter described his future with unsettling specificity. It said he would leave behind the glamour and excess, that he would go to a cold city in Europe, a divided city, and that there, in isolation and emptiness, he would create his most honest work. Not as Ziggy, not as any character, as no one. "You will go to Berlin," the letter said, "and in Berlin you will disappear. This will save your life." But the most unnerving part came at the end. "Do not try to find me. I am not important. The message is what matters. You have been given a gift, the ability to become anything. Most people spend their lives trying to be one thing. You will spend yours trying to be everything. This is your purpose. Do not waste it by staying still. At the bottom, written in Japanese characters, was a phrase. Bowie didn't know what it meant, but he copied it down carefully. He didn't sleep that night. The next day, Bowie asked his translator what the Japanese phrase meant. The translator looked at the paper for a long moment. "It's an old saying," she said. "The moon does not stay in the water. The water does not hold the moon." What does that mean? It means reflections are not real. They appear, they vanish, but they are beautiful because they do not last. Bowie nodded slowly. "Do you know this girl?" He described her, the red dress, the calm expression. The translator shook her head. "No, but it sounds like something a Zen student would write." "Do you think I could find her?" "Do you think she wants to be found?" Over the next few years, according to people close to Bowie, he kept that letter. He carried it with him through the end of the Ziggy tour, through the cocaine-fueled paranoia of Los Angeles, through the move to Berlin in 1976. Berlin. Just like the letter had said. In Berlin, Bowie lived in a small apartment. He painted, he walked the streets, he stopped being a star and became, for a brief time, no one. And there, in that cold, divided city, he created the Berlin Trilogy. Low, Heroes, Lodger, albums that sounded like nothing else he'd ever made. Sparse, fragmented, honest. Some say the philosophy in that letter shaped everything he did afterward. The constant reinvention, the refusal to stay still, the way he treated identity like clothing, something you put on, wear for a while, then discard when it no longer fits. In interviews over the years, Bowie was occasionally asked about his interest in Buddhism, in impermanence, in the idea of the self as illusion. He never mentioned the letter, but he never denied it either. "I don't believe in staying the same," he said in one interview in 1977. "The moment you think you've found yourself, you've stopped growing. And the moment you stop growing, you're already dead." In 1990, Bowie returned to Tokyo for a concert. After the show, he spent an hour walking through the streets near Shibuya Public Hall, looking for something he couldn't name. His tour manager asked what he was doing. "Just looking," Bowie said. "For what?" "A girl in a red dress." "From a long time ago?" "From a long time ago." He never found her. And some people who've heard this story say it never happened, that Bowie invented it, or that someone invented it about him. Others say the letter was real, but the girl wasn't, that Bowie wrote it himself as a way of processing his own transformation. But those who knew Bowie personally say there was something about 1973 that changed him. Something happened in Tokyo that shifted everything. And whatever it was, he carried it with him for the rest of his life. The letter, if it existed, was never found after Bowie's death in 2016. Either he destroyed it, or he took the secret with him. Shibuya Public Hall still stands today. Every year, a small group of Bowie fans gather there on the anniversary of that 1973 concert. Some of them wear red. Some of them leave letters of their own, tucked into the cracks of the building's exterior, as if the girl in the red dress might still be watching. On the wall near the stage entrance, someone has spray-painted a phrase in Japanese. "The moon does not stay in the water." No one knows who put it there, but it's been repainted every time the venue tries to remove it by anonymous hands year after year. Some say Bowie spent years looking for her. Others say the point was never to find her again. Maybe the real question isn't whether she existed. Maybe the real question is, what do you need to hear to become who you're supposed to be? And who will you need to disappear to hear it?